Hi, my name is Amaya, and I'll be explaining my assignment 3 program. Let's get into it. Okay, so this is my header file. I have all my getters, getters, and my setters. Just doing the typical getting the value, getting the member and then returning it, and then setting the value to whatever it is in the parameter. And here we have our void print item function, which is just printing the items that are in the grocery item class. And we have our normal default constructor. And then we have our for parameterized constructor, which also acts as a setter for the name, description, price, quantity, and ID. And this is just declaring those members in the private class. And I also created a new class, a new grocery list class, so we could actually print out the grocery list. And we have our default constructor and our deconstructor or destructor, which will delete the array. I guess I'll explain that in the definition. And then we have just our normal what are required like print, add, remove, quantity, change, and checkout functions. And in our private class, we have a pointer that points to a pointer called list that points to the grocery items. And then we have our size and capacity. Yeah, as I said before, this is our normal getters and setters. Getters are returning name, description, price, quantity, and then our setters are setting the name, description, price, and quantity. Yes. And sorry, I thought I missed something. And then our print item, these are just printing what the items are. This is not like the receipt yet. This is just printing what the items are to the user. And our grocery item default constructor is just setting everything equal to 0. And in this case, in the name and description, just blanks because the user hasn't entered anything. So yes. Grocery item constructor is just setting whatever the user inputs to the data members as per usual. And then we move on to the grocery list class. Now the grocery list class, I declared my capacity as 10, a size at 0 because we're just starting off, and our pointer called list. We make that a dynamically allocated array, which holds the capacity. And then in our deconstructor, we're just deleting that pointer that we created in the default constructor, which will be done at the end of the program. And here we have our print item, which will actually print the itemized receipt. And as it goes through the array, it will call upon each item and print it, which is why we have created the print item up here. Yeah, it will call upon each item and then print it in that format, this format right here. Moving on, then we have our add function, and it takes in a constant reference of grocery item because we actually want to affect the grocery item, not a copy of it. Like we want to affect the actual object. And in this case, if the size happens to be greater than the capacity, which means if the size exceeds 10 here, we'll use the growth algorithm. And we will create a temporary array, and we create temporary array of type grocery item, and then we'll copy the contents from the original array here into the temporary array. Then we'll delete the original array, and then we will overwrite the original array with the temporary array from which we copied. And in the case where the size is not greater than capacity, then it will just store the item into the array. And the size is incrementing because we want, like, as each item gets put in, we want the index to go up each time. So if we have like an item of like oranges, and that's at 0. Then the next item we want, let's say mangoes, we want that at 1, and then so on and so forth. And our checkout function is what? Okay, so there's a lot going on. So this is just like formatting stuff, and we have a total and an item total. So we'll print out like the total. It'll multiply the price times whatever the quantity is, and they'll add that to like the complete total, and then it will print out the name, description, the price, and the quantity in this format, and then it will show us what our total is at the end. And then once the checkout function is called, then the data will be cleared out and the program will end. Then we have our quantity change um, function, and we are going through the array, and we're looking for the ID that the user inputs. And once it finds the ID, it will break out of the loop and set the uh, it'll it will break out of the loop and then set the quantity to whatever the user inputted here. So that's why we're calling it the this array, the position that the list is at will be changed. I mean, the quantity will be changed at that position or ID. They're the same thing, same type with the remove function. It will loop through the array, find the ID, and then break out once it does. And then once it does that, then it will be similar to the um, add, except we're decrementing instead of adding. So we create our temporary array, and then we copy from 0 to the position that we found. And then after that, we'll create another for loop, which will copy from 1 greater than the position to the end, because we don't want to copy the actual position that we found, because that's the position that we want to be deleted. And then from there, we will delete the original list, and then the same thing where we overwrite the list with temp, and then we decrement for that empty space that we now have. So yeah, and then if they happen to like put the wrong ID, it'll print that. Oops, that's supposed to be deleted. Sorry. Just pretend you did not see that, please. Yes. And yes, okay. And for our main function, we have just our normal variables here, and we ask the user if they want to add, delete, change, or print or checkout. And here I made a function called create item, which is just having the user input the description, the name, the quantity, the price of the item, and then it will be stored into the constructor that we created earlier, and then it will be um, return the item, yeah, of that constructor. It's called item here. And the reason I did that is because when I made a switch statement, and for some reason it wasn't recognizing my constructor here. It kept giving me an error, so I just made it into a separate function and then called that function within the add function. And yeah, and it works. And then for the same with the remove, you're just putting in the ID into the function, and then it'll delete it. Same with the quantity and ID. And the print is just printing the itemized receipt that I explained earlier. Type grocery list, because here everything is type grocery list here. And same with the checkout. We're printing out like what is in the grocery list, not like the item. And yes, so I think that's everything. And yeah, I can start the code now. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second to log in. Oh, just open. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna start off by adding. We're gonna add like cereal. We can call it, well, you want like cinnamon toast crunch. And then price, we can say it's like $3. And we want one box. And the ID can be one. Add another thing. We can add milk. You just call it a beverage. I don't really know how to describe milk. And we can get two. Well, that's the price. We can, how much is, let's say $5. I guess get two of those. The item will be two. We can add one more thing. You can add strawberries. Can be three. Oop, we could fruit. Price can be like 0.50. And yeah, three, I guess. And the item can be three. And then here we're just gonna print just to see what it looks like. So here it's just printing out like that, just the items that we have. This is not the print itemized receipt. This is just like, you know, just a print of the, yeah. And then if we want to delete something, let's say, well, let's do the change. Let's say we wanted to change like the item, I mean the quantity. So we want to change the quantity of let's say milk, I mean cereal. So we have one, so we can change it to two. And then we print it again and see it's changed to two right here. And then we can do the delete, and we is asked for the ID, so we can delete strawberries, because why not? And then it says the item has been deleted, and then just to print again to see. And as you can see, the strawberries has been deleted. And when we want to check out, we press L, and then that's the end of the program. And yep, that's just cost everything. 3 times 2 is 6, 5 times 2 is 10, 10 plus 6 is 16. And yep. And that will be the end of the explanation. Thank you.